Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Yay. The holidays are fast approaching. But right now, why don't we celebrate together? And if you're able, why don't we stand and we'll sing.
I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday, mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new, and don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. All is well, all is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am love and so are you. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. Sing it out, here we go. All is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. All is well and unfolding as it should. Well, good morning, everybody. Take a minute to greet some of those lovely faces out there. Place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
So we would like to invite the children to come up. And today is the second light of Advent, so we would like them to come up on stage. So come on up. Come on up, you guys. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. All right. So come on up here. Come on up here and grab one of these that feels right to you and bring them on up. You remember, those of you that were here last week, you remember the altar right there? You want to stick it on the altar. Stick it on the altar. Probably not the most graceful way to say that. Perfect, perfect. Okay, and Philip is going to light candles. So, not yet, not yet. Hold, hold, hold. Wait, wait. Okay. Here's what we say with that. So the first light of Advent is the light of the stones, stones that live in crystals, in seashells, and bones. So a lot of you put things on the altar last week for that. The second light of Advent is the light of plants, plants that reach up to the sky and in the breezes dance. So why don't we sing together to sing them out to their outdoor classroom.
Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. Got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Philip Flores. I am today's practitioner of the day. I'm being supported by Wanda and Kalish and many other practitioners. Whoever you see wearing one of these stoles, they are in service for you today. Walk up to them if you need some prayer or just somebody to talk to. We're here. And you can also fill out a prayer request form in the prayer vessel back there as well as online. So know with me, I'm going to get ready for our invocation. So this I know is true, that there is one source, one divine love, one divine intelligence, one divine heart. And I welcome this presence right here, right now at Centers for Spiritual Living Bellingham. And I open up my awareness, my senses, my heart to today's message from Dr. Andrea. And I also listen to my inner voice, knowing that all is well, all is good, and all is peace. So I take in this morning air and recognize the beauty that life presents to me each and every moment. And so I welcome you to this moment. Feel free, feel alive, feel refreshed. And so it is.
Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Let's sing that again. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open, I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open, I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open. My heart is open. I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open. I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. When I let go, love can flow how it's meant to. When I let go, love can flow in all ways. To me, through me, alive in everything. When I let go, love can flow how it's meant to. When I let go, love can flow how it's meant to. When I let go, love can flow in all ways. To me, through me, alive in everything. When I let go, love can flow how it's meant to. go, love can flow how it's meant to. When I let go, love can flow in all ways. To me, through me, alive in everything. When I let go, love can flow how it's meant to.
Thank you, everyone. Sometimes you just want to be in the awe. A-W-E-N-A-H. Ah. Well, today was interesting. You know, many of you know that I get up really early and I prepare my talk on Sunday morning. A lot of ministers don't do that, so be prepared. And there's advantages to that because through the years I've found that things happen. And so being on the day of the talk, I'm able to incorporate the things that have happened sometimes. The downside is, well, there's not a downside for me exactly, but today was one of those days where this story just kept insisting it be told. And this downside of being a storyteller is every once in a while a story will insist. And I'm like, it doesn't have anything to do with what I said I would talk about. So it started last night. It came to me last night, and I'm like, yeah, but not this Sunday. And then I woke up, and it's like, no, this Sunday. All right. So I sat there going, well, how do I integrate what I thought I was going to talk about with what this story is? And so you're getting that. So the theme for the month and the theme for the year is living beautifully. And of course, it has to do with living beautifully on the spiritual path, in your life, and living from a place of awakened awareness. So the topic for today is letting our angels go. And it's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And Emerson's quote, actually the whole thing is, we cannot let our angels go. We do not see that they only go out, that archangels may come in. And it's from one of my favorite essays of his, the essay on compensation. And I chose that quote because I wanted to talk about how to live beautifully in a place of surrender. And surrender is an interesting term. Whenever I say the word surrender, I flinch. How about you? Because it's like, ooh. Well, does that mean, white flag, I surrender, I lost? Or does that mean I surrender and now I have to do what I don't want to do? There's a lot of meanings to surrender, and most of them are not my favorites. So the one I'm talking about is actually the spiritual practice of letting go to a higher wisdom and a higher love. And that kind of surrender is actually kind of factory equipment on the spiritual path. And so, what I know is that growth for we sacred humans happens whether we want it to or not, and that when we cooperate with the evolutionary urges that are coming to us, through us, and as us, that we actually are benefited greatly, but that what gets in the way sometimes is that we resist. Just like the word surrender can make us go, we resist our own growth sometimes. Well, I don't know about you. I just know that I've done that over and over again, and you'd think I'd know better. So Emerson goes on from that quote about we fail to let our angels go, not realizing that archangels will come in. But he says, evermore in the order of nature, it is to grow, And every soul is, by this intrinsic necessity, quitting its whole system of things. And then he goes on and he says, we are idolaters of the past. We linger in the ruins of the old tent where once we had bread and shelter, nor believe that the Spirit can feed and cover and help us again. We sit and weep in vain. The voice of the Almighty saith, up and onward forever. We cannot stay amid the ruins. So what he's talking about here is this place in most people I know that loves comfort. And the love of comfort, which is completely understandable, I have it myself, can sometimes lead us into a way of thinking where we don't realize that the comfort is actually now an obstruction. It's actually now a ruin of a tent. It doesn't actually serve us any longer. And I think this is partly why I'm talking about this. So I've been playing solitaire on a very, very, very old reader for a long time, and I got a notice from the reader's origin. The readers that said, well, we're discontinuing this model, and if you want to keep your stuff, then you need to come in and we'll bring a stick and we'll download all your stuff. And I ignored that. And so, many months went by, and then I got another one of those, we've discontinued, and if you want to keep your stuff, you need to blah, blah, blah. And I ignored that. So this morning, I went to open my reader to look up this quote. Dead as a doornail. And it didn't have to do with the battery. They discontinued it. So why was I ignoring that? Because I liked being able to just pick up my reader and do what I always did. And I didn't want to go and pick out a different one and spend more money. And then I'd have to make choices like, do I want this one or that one? Or, oh, God, So as hard as this is, silly. But it's a great example because I did that because I was comfortable with what was. I even had warning, which sometimes you and I don't get. A marriage ends like that, no warning, right? Or some diagnosis happens, boop, no warning, or fill in the blank, right? So I had warning, and I still didn't act on it. How about you? I am not the only one in this room. And so my point there is that there's something operating in all of us that is more than our personality, comfort-loving self. And this I would call spirit. That's the word I use. You can use any word you want, but that's the one I use. And if you look at this flag here, this is the symbol. You can also see it on this podium for the Science of Mind, for Centers for Spiritual Living. And it's a V, right? And everybody goes, well, what does that mean exactly? And what it means, okay, the circle is wholeness. The lines indicate how spirit operates. But the V is what I want to talk about right now for a minute. Because what I know from bitter personal experience and lovely personal experience is that spirit in us cannot be contracted for very long. The whole purpose of spirit in us has been to take a unique form and evolve it. We literally are actually the ongoingness of spirit. We're part of its eternal nature. We just happen to be the form it's taking right now. And so spirit, not willing to be contracted, takes form and then wants to evolve us. That's the whole thing. It wants to evolve by means of us. And so go back to the reader, just because it's a stupid example, I was trying to contract and keep what I had, even though I was getting notices from the universe and Barnes and Noble that it was time to let go, we do that on a bigger level sometimes in our life. And the whole purpose of a sacred human's life is to open, to evolve, to grow as in our sacredness, in our awakening, in our awareness, and in our self-expression in the world. And so when we allow the personality self to kind of try to keep things just as they are, it doesn't go well for us. It really doesn't. So one thing that can happen, perhaps you've had this with a relative in your life. I had in-laws, not Joe's family, but my previous marriage, I had some in-laws, and I just would jokingly sometimes call them souls on vacation because they were doing nothing different. It was the same thing every day, every day, every day, every day. Now, if you're a dog, that's great. I have a new dog, right? And so the dog loves routine. It's like, okay, and now we're walking, even if I don't want to. Okay, and now you're feeding me. And okay, now is nap time. But sacred humans aren't meant to actually walk through life like that, where it's routine. And so one thing that can happen to us, I was actually listening to Hidden Brain yesterday on my way back from a memorial, and there was a study about people who had retired and lost cognitive function because they had become souls on vacation. Basically, that's not what the researcher called it. That's what I call it. It's like you stop. If you try to stop, you're basically inviting little deaths. You know, I'm sorry. I'm 4 weeks out from not talking to you, and so I'm going to be kind of brutal here. So what do we do instead? You know, I think I've made my point, so what do we do instead? Well, Mary Oliver, that incredible poet that so many of us love, said, you know, make some room in your heart for the unimaginable. And if there was a tagline for the Centers for Spiritual Living, that would be it. Make some room in your heart for the unimaginable good, for the unimaginable growth, for the unimaginable awakening, for the unimaginable illumination, for the unimaginably wonderful experience. So when we're not souls on vacation, when we actually are opening, what begins to happen and continues to happen all through our life is we are invited into a larger experience of ourselves and the possibilities in the world. This is the most beautiful part of the spiritual path, is this kind of opening. And when we begin to do that, there's like a pull that when we're paying attention, we can actually identify in us. There's a pull towards certain decision-making, certain pathways, certain choices, certain ways of thinking. And it becomes more pronounced the more we focus on it. So knowing that there's this pull, we can understand that what's actually happening is we're being guided. We're being led by the intelligence and the love that is in us and seeking to evolve us. And so resistance is futile. You remember that movie? Resistance is futile. It's futile because this thing in us doesn't want to stop, doesn't want us to be souls on vacation. And it will seek to put things in our path, to put things in our mind, to put things in our heart that will literally pull us into newness, new experiences, new ways of thinking. So maintaining a willingness is part of what we train for in spiritual circles, any of them, you know, maintaining a willingness. There's all kinds of ways to talk about this. Here, what we talk about is just simply saying, I am willing when we are pulled in a direction that's scary, that's new, that would take us out of our comfort zones and lead us into some mysterious thing. We simply say to ourselves, I am willing to explore this. Doesn't mean I have to go in that direction, but I will explore it because I'm being pulled there. And as the willingness begins to happen, we not only discover that there's something in us, working through us and as us, that has an intentionality to it, but we begin to understand that actually we came here as sacred souls in this particular time-space continuum with a purpose. And the purpose may have been hidden from us for a long time, but the pull will help us to understand what it is that we're meant to be giving into the world. And sometimes what we've chosen as a career path is not it. And that's okay. You know, one of the things that I've learned all these years is just because people work in a career that really is not feeding their soul deeply and richly and powerfully, as long as the purpose is served in some other very beautiful way, you're safe. If you're doing a career and you're not purposefully, intentionally living this pull elsewhere, forgive me, you're screwed. Because something will happen. Have any of you had something happen? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just does. It's like you can't get away from spirit because spirit is in you, as you, and working through you. And so if that purpose is not being expressed, you'll either have a series of little deaths and eventually just die from boredom, or you'll be pulled in such a way that you feel like you've been hit over the head with a 2x4. And it's like, wake up will be the message. Wake up. This is needing attention. And you get to do that. It's way easier before. If I listened to Barnes & Noble in my first email, I wouldn't have woken up this morning to a dead reader, right? It's way easier when we listen to the message that's coming our way and respond. I say that, but I know for you and for me, it doesn't feel easier because change is being asked for. It just doesn't. And so, again, we go back to growth is never painful, but the resistance to growth is. Resistance to growth is extremely painful because we're going to get, if we resist long enough. So let's see. Oh, the story. I almost got away with it. So that was my first talk, and then the story. So the story is it's an ancient Irish legend. And let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I can find it. So it's called The Salmon of Knowledge. And it goes like this, and I'll tell you how it applies, because it took me an hour to figure that out. So briefly, in ancient Ireland, of course you know that the lands were divided by clans. And sometimes the clans got along and sometimes they didn't, and they were somewhat warlike. Well, into this society, the one sacrosanct group of people that were never attacked ever and who collaborated and worked together were the poets and the storytellers. They were the ones. And so they had their own enclaves, and they literally could not be attacked. If anyone attacked a poet or a storyteller, it was instant death for that person. And so this is a story about one of the most famous storytellers in ancient Ireland. His name was, depending on how you read it, I'm going to call him Finneas. Sometimes it's translated as Finnegas. But Finneas was the premier sage and poet in Ireland of this time. And what would happen is that young people would come to the poets and they would do an apprenticeship to learn how to be a poet. So long, long story about this other kid, this kid who had been being fostered, which was the way they did things. So I thought it was brilliant. They took teenage boys and teenage girls, and the mom and the dad would say, hey, you're going to your aunt and uncle's house for the next 4 years. So from the time they were like 12 until they were like 16 or 17, they were somewhere else with other people who didn't put up with their stuff. And we're training them, and that was the whole purpose. So this young man, his name is Fionn. Fionn decided after his fostership that he wanted to become a poet. And so he traveled to this famous Finnegas poet and asked if he could be his apprentice. And so Finnegas said, all right, sure, I can do that, because he recognized in Fionn a very incredible gift. And so they were, the apprentices did all the work, and the poet did all the teaching. So Fionn was in charge of cooking and cleaning up and doing all this stuff. So at this time, the poet, Finnegas, was determined to catch the salmon of knowledge, which was swimming, depending on the story, swimming in an ancient well or in a river. And the salmon of knowledge has all the wisdom of the entire world. And the way that salmon got it was swimming in this place in the fall. There were there's something about nine hazelnut trees around this well or by this river, and 9 hazelnuts that contained all the wisdom of the entire world fell into the water, and the salmon ate all 9 and was immediately imbued with all the knowledge of the world. So you can imagine, Finnegas is trying to catch this salmon so that he can eat the salmon and have all the knowledge of the world for himself. But the salmon is very, very smart, very wise, right? So Finnegas has been fishing in this place for 7 years and never can catch this salmon. The salmon sees him and kind of winks, but isn't gonna know. So along comes Fionn. Fionn's sitting with Finnegas, watching him fish, and he goes, well, there he is. And Finnegas goes, I know, don't look at him, because if you look at him, he'll just disappear. And so Fionn goes, okay, I'll look at him, and as soon as I look at him, you catch him. And that's what happened. 7 years, finally, Finnegas catches the salmon of knowledge, and he's going to cook him and eat him and have all the knowledge of the world. It's been his life dream. So he says to Fionn, okay, start a fire and cook the salmon for me. Just don't eat it. Cook it, but don't eat it. And Fionn goes, okay, sure, no problem, no problem. So he builds a fire, and he's cooking the salmon over this fire, and Finnegas goes to lay down because he's old. And so the apprentice, Fionn, is like flipping the salmon, making sure that it's really cooked well. And all of a sudden, a piece of fat from the salmon lands on his thumb. And all of a sudden, he has all the knowledge of the world. And he is like, uh-oh. So here comes Finnegas, and Finnegas takes one look at Fionn and says, did you eat the salmon? He said, I didn't eat the salmon. It's right here. But a fat hit my finger, and it was burning, and I went like this. And Finnegas realizes, this is how the story actually is so beautiful. Finnegas realizes that it was never supposed to be him to have that knowledge. It was supposed to be Fionn. And so he instructs Fionn to eat the salmon. And he says, and I'm going to change your name to Finn, which means like exalted wisdom. And so Finn then becomes like this great leader of Ireland and does all these crazy adventures, and there's a whole, series of tales about Finn. But I always feel for Finnegas, because he had this dream, right? So this is how it ties in. Finnegas was wise enough to recognize with the change that it wasn't meant for him. And instead of being angry or upset or eating half the salmon or whatever I might do as a maneuver, he just really was able to roll with what had changed and let it happen so that history and all could evolve Finn and evolve Finnegas in a different direction. So I'm sure that that's why the story wanted to be spoken, is what I catch in myself when I hear that story is, I don't know that I would have been that gracious. You know, after 7 long years of fishing and fishing and fishing for this dang salmon, and now all of a sudden what I had hoped was not going to happen. And yet the story is so instructive. It teaches us to let go when something is evidently going in a different direction. Now, all of this is to say that on the spiritual path, there will be moments like that for all of us, and not just one, but over and over, because as we evolve, we're being pulled in the direction of further evolution and growth. We're being pulled in the direction of being more and more wise, more and more open, more and more gracious, more and more our true selves to bring our purpose into being. And as a community, we're doing the exact same thing right now. We are. We're being asked to invite change and to be gracious in it, to recognize, oh, this is an opportunity. This is simply the way things need to go. And I can either resist that and feel awful and shut down, or I can go with it and be gracious with it and go, oh, okay, all right. This is what Spirit does by means of people and organizations. So let me, in case you're in a point, like I am, where evolution is calling your name, pulling on you to do something else, why don't I do a prayer for that, and we'll close. So know, as I know, for myself, at the center of my being, there is a power that knows me beyond what I know myself to be. It is infinitely wise, infinitely loving, and it is shaping me because its entire intention in taking form by means of me is to grow, to express, to bring forward newness, to allow a new expression of its own very spirited beingness to take shape by means of my life. And as I remember this, I remember that I can't contract that presence. I can contract my personality around it and be miserable. Or what I choose today is to open to the pull of the presence in me, and to allow it to inform me and guide me and direct me in ways that will allow me an even greater expression of my life and of my purpose here in this time and space. And as I allow and open and feel the pull of that presence, I know what to do and what not to do, moment by moment. Do I get to see the future? Not really. Do I get to be very, very focused and present in what my next right step is? Yes. And so I do that. I drop my resistance. I surrender into Spirit. I allow the wisdom that it is to guide me, and I am transformed, changed for the better. And I'm grateful. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. All right, I am going to invite the ushers forward. And and it's Shelley and Steve today. And I'm going to thank you in advance for your wonderful gifts of time and talent and treasure. And grateful we are as a center to be so well supported. Thank you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh yeah, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All of my life, all of my life, I'm gonna let it shine. All of my life, I'm gonna let it shine. All of my life, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light, let's sing it out. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, 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 let it shine.
Hey, do you want to learn something new? This won't be new to all of you, but I had a music director back in Reading, where I had a pulpit for 28 years, and I drove her crazy unknowingly because I didn't know when to clap. And so she taught me, and my life has been different ever since. And so I know some of you are in the same dilemma. It's like, okay, when do I do that? You follow Robin. So when she goes bump, 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 that's when you clap, 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 right? Because what I was doing was following the melody, and that's not when you're supposed to clap. And so not only was my life changed for the better, but my music director was so grateful.
I really appreciate your clapping. I do.
It's like, right on, she really taught me. Yeah, 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 so now you know. All right, we have a couple of announcements besides that teaching. Let's see, okay. Well, we got close. We didn't get to our goal of $201,000 for this coming year in people who were willing to tell us what they would like to give on a monthly basis, but we got $170,000. And if you are just hearing about this and you would like to be on that program, hey, we'd love you to sign up. We would love to have that extra $31,000 to play with. What we'll do now is the budget team is going to be meeting in about a week or so, and we will do what you do, which is like, okay, well, this is what we have, and this is what we can do, and this is what we won't do, and that's what we do. And I want to thank all of you for giving all the time I've been here and before. This center really would not be here without your gifts, all of your gifts, your time that you give by coming and listening, your talent when you offer to volunteer in some regard, and we need a couple of volunteers. The sound team tragically lost one of their members, and they're looking for someone to help, and your treasure, your money. And so thank you for that. Yeah. All right, and second Sundays are always our time for our groups to happen. So we have the women's group happening in the sanctuary, and we have the men's group happening in the classroom. They both start at noon and go for an hour and a half-ish. And so if you're just hearing about this, you are welcome to come and be a part of it. And we hope that it will serve you in a beautiful way. And then there's another circle happening tonight that Tabor's going to be doing.
Yes, if you have not yet joined us for one of these song circles, there's so much fun. We've had consistently about 20 or so folks who show up, and we are in a big circle, and we're learning simple songs that hopefully you can take with you into your week. You're also welcome to show up and record the audio and then have those songs to take. And I encourage anyone who's coming to also bring a song if you have a song. And even if you don't want to lead the song, you could tell me the song, and I'm happy to share it too. So this is meant to be a time for us to come together as a community, and all voices are welcome, no matter what your relationship is with your own vocal cords. I really, really welcome you all.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very special. 6:30 tonight here in the sanctuary. And then our wonderful friend Rita, who is from Peru but lives here now in Ferndale, does a benefit once a year that we support here at the center. She'll be in the classroom next Sunday, and she raises money by selling Peruvian goods to support the women back in Peru who would otherwise not be able to seek breast cancer treatment. And so it's really a beautiful thing she's doing, and we love supporting her in that. So bring your credit cards or your money and see if there's any holiday gift giving that you could support the women in Peru and Rita in providing. Thank you. Okay, and we're coming up on solstice. I do know that solstice is actually not on the 21st. It falls one way or the other some years, but we're celebrating on the 21st because typically that's the day. And Tabor is going to be here, as well as a lot of musicians. And we do a very just beautiful recognition of the sun return. There's singing, there's candle lighting, there's fires out on the lawn that we go to afterward. And this will be my last one for some time, and so you're invited to come. Children are more than welcome, and we'll celebrate the return of the light together on the 21st at 7. And then not too many days later, Christmas Eve candlelighting service, which is a whole different energy and a different intention. Of course, if you were raised as I was in the Christian tradition, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are very, very special holidays. And although the meaning of those holidays has evolved in me, I love Christmas Eve and I love Christmas Day. And so you're invited to come for really pretty much a traditional Christmas Eve service. We read the story of the baby Jesus, and the choir is going to be singing, and you're going to be invited to sing carols if you would like. And we will also have a candle lighting at that one, because at this time of year, any light we bring is good. So that's at 7 as well. And then, yes, I feel incredibly celebrated. Yes, you're invited to 2 different things. There's a potluck lunch on my last Sunday speaking, which is the 29th, and you can bring a potluck dish and share in food, and apparently there's some other things planned that I'm not allowed to know about. I believe it has something to do with the ritual, but I don't know. And then a couple days later is really just a flat-out party to wish me well. So the party has music and food. It starts at 4 and ends at 7, I think it is. Is that right? Yes. And you don't have to bring anything, but for that party, because they're bringing food just to feed everybody, we do need you to pre-register to let us know you're coming so that we can have enough food on hand. I'm planning, I don't know if this will happen, but you know that the interim minister is named Bob Dean, Dr. Bob Dean. And I've known him for a number of years, and I really like him. And he was saying he didn't want to come to the party because he didn't want to rain on my parade. And I said, oh my God, I have so many parades. Please come. So I'm invited. Bob, if you're listening, you're invited, and I'm going to insist because I'd like you to meet him. And just get to know him a little bit. I mean, the music's going to be going, so it won't be awkward. It'll be like, hi, Dr. Bob, and go dance some more, you know. But I hope he'll come. And that's him. That's Dr. Bob. just a wonderful man, and he's going to be guiding the community for the next 6 months as we prepare ourselves to invite a permanent minister to come on board. And I know that you will like him. And is he me? No. I'm me, you may have noticed, and no one else is me, thankfully. And so he's him, and I'm me. So just pointing that out so you don't expect him to be me, okay? That'll be good. All right, and I think that might be it. Yes. All right, so if you're able, let's stand and we'll sing our way. All of us who are me's, let's sing.
Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Let's sing, I am an instrument of peace. 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 You all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again soon.